Today I'm going to be showing you how I decorated this adorable nerdy apple sugar cookie. You're going to begin by outlining the design of your cookie with an edible marker. Using a soft piping consistency, begin to outline the base of the cookie. This would be the outline of the apple, the eyes, and the blush. Now, there are a few other ways to add facial features. Personally, I love using this method and I feel that it has really leveled up my cookies, so I would highly recommend that you give this method a try. After outlining, you're going to want to begin flooding the base of the apple. When flooding a cookie, I like to use a honey-like consistency. So as you can tell here, when I'm flooding, it all blends in together on its own, and that's what I look for. Now, this cookie is a regular size cookie, but it is actually on the larger side. Therefore, whenever I work with larger cookies, I do like to flood in small sections. And if your icing consistency is not flowy enough, it could possibly leave some texture behind. No worries if this happens. You can fix this. All you're going to need to do is get your scribe and either shake your cookie or move the icing around until it blends in back together, as well as your scribe can be used for popping any air bubbles that tend to happen quite often. I have been decorating cookies consistently for about 4 years now, and these things still happen to me, so don't be hard on yourself. It just takes some time and patience. Next, we're going to go ahead and use the wet on wet technique to add some spots to the apple on both the top and bottom sides using a darker shade of green. You're going to want to go ahead and add the blush details on this apple while the flood is still wet. After you've filled in both of these areas, you're going to want to stick your cookie in the dehydrator for about 15 minutes. So the first layer is now semi-dry, so we can go ahead and start by outlining the stem and both of the leaves. After you have outlined, make sure that you add a squiggly line to all of these areas to help avoid your icing from cratering. Another important detail you want to keep in mind is that when you are flooding these smaller areas, you do want to use a thicker flood consistency. By doing this, you're going to be able to achieve that puffy look that a lot of us are looking for when we're decorating cookies. Once you've outlined and added the lines underneath, you can begin by flooding with that thicker consistency. You can also use your scribe like I am here to help smooth out those areas. I prefer flooding the leaves first and make my way to the stem. I've noticed that in the past that if I'm doing multiple of these cookies, which would be for a presale, they tend to crater. And all we want to do is avoid craters as much as possible. I know that they will happen eventually, they happen to me, so don't be hard on yourself if it happens. It's totally fine and normal. But these are the steps that I take to help avoid them. Once you finish flooding these areas, you're going to want to stick this cookie in a dehydrator for about another 5 minutes. So using a soft piping consistency, you're going to want to fill in the eyes. I like to make sure whenever I am filling these areas that I sort of like shake it around to help the icing reach the edges. Next, we're going to be adding the glasses. Now, I use my projector for this, and I just use my scribe to sort of scratch the outline of the glasses. As some of you might know, but circles sometimes can be difficult to pipe. So I just like to be precise, so therefore I will use my projector for these areas. And I'm also using a soft piping consistency as well. I also like to use a scribe to make sure that both of those edges blend in together. This part is optional, but I like to add some detail to the leaves, as you see here, using a soft piping consistency as well. And then we're going to go ahead and also add a cute swirl to the stem. For this last part, we're going to add the eyebrows, lashes, if any, smile, and freckles using a fine tip edible marker. Try to be gentle as your cookie is not fully dry, so you could possibly create holes in your icing, and we do not want that. Isn't this apple just so cute? Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed.